Last week, Oklahoma Republicans introduced a bill that would essentially ban clowns. Inadvertently, of course, because they are clowns. Now, part of it included banning excessive makeup and wearing exaggerated costumes in public around children, specifically. So this is an example of one of the latest bills to work its way through state governments that are aimed at specifically trying to stop drag shows. Now, this bill specifically was authored by Republican State Representative Kevin West. Kevin West, in his bill, compares drag queens to essentially cabaret workers or topless dancers or strippers. Okay. So now, what's funny about this, and there's a lot, okay, just how completely ridiculous and clownish it is. The point of drag, a lot of it, is to wear excessive amounts of clothing. I mean, again, the costumes are excessive and flamboyant. That's kind of the point. The bill includes people who wear drag, along with artists who take part in so-called adult cabaret performances, who generally defines drag as a male or female performer, who adopts a flamboyant or parodic feminine persona with glamorous or exaggerated costumes and makeup. And goes on to suggest that a law banning this kind of performance suggest passing this law based on a performance taking place at a public property or location where an adult cabaret performance could be viewed by a person who is a minor. Any person found violating the law could be punished with imprisonment for a term no longer than 30 days and no longer than 2 years. The payment of a fine of no less than $500 and no more than $20,000 or both. That is insane. Do you know what this could apply to with how vague it is? Clowns. They would ban clowns. Clowns, I don't know if you know this, they adopt a persona with excessive costumes and excessive makeup and are to be viewed by minors. They would ban clowns. Now, there are some people out there that go, I don't have a problem with that. I hate clowns, skater clowns. Understandable, totally. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of clowns here. But at the same time, this is really stupid. Under this law, clowns would be banned, subject to at least a month in prison and a fine of $500. Again, all at the very least. What? Congratulations, Kevin West. You are a clown that has just introduced a bill to ban yourself. But the other thing that it would affect is Halloween. There goes trick-or-treating. Again, you're dressing up in exaggerated costumes and makeup, and you're around minors in public. The whole thing is so stupid. It is ridiculous. And look, all of this is a ploy to just go after gay and trans people, essentially to fight the culture wars. Now, West also takes the bill further, proposing the approval of legislation banning drag queen story hour events, which he describes as an event hosted by a drag queen who reads children's books and engages in other learning activities with minor children present. Now, notice it's reading books and learning activities. This is not a performance by a drag queen. Doesn't matter, though. They said, it shall be unlawful for a person to organize or authorize the viewing of a drag queen story hour on public property or in a location where the drag queen story hour could be viewed by a person who is a minor. West proposes, even as he writes, that by definition, drag queen story hour events are meant to have children as part of the audience. Any person found violating this ban should be punished with imprisonment for a term not exceeding 1 year, fined between $500 and $1,000 or both. While being found guilty of performing adult cabaret in front of a child would be considered a felony, West suggests that someone found holding or hosting a drag queen story hour in front of a child should be considered guilty of a misdemeanor. Oh, okay. Look, this is but one of the many latest attempts made by Republican state lawmakers to go after drag shows. You actually have people spending significant amounts of time on this. You have legislators in Arizona, Idaho, Michigan, Montana, Missouri, Tennessee, and Texas proposing anti-drag queen laws. Ironic, considering how, their newest Republican congressman, George Santos, was a drag queen, went by the name of Kitara, and had also just recently admitted it, saying, well, I dressed up. I wasn't a drag queen. I just dressed up multiple times in this persona in Brazil. What's the issue? Well, there isn't an issue, or wouldn't be an issue, aside from the vast hypocrisy of your party going after trans people consistently. But of course, right? Look, this is what Republicans are focused on. They don't want to solve problems. They don't want to do legislation that actually, does things to help average people. No, they want to make up issues. They want to make up problems and then propose legislation to solve them. And then, they can declare victory. Look, I stopped the evil drag queens. And while you're distracted with that, clown politicians banning actual clowns inadvertently, they make deep cuts to food stamp programs, Medicaid, public housing, on and on and on. And then, well, they also try to, cut the amount of taxes the wealthy and corporations pay. So while you're being distracted with this stuff, they're doing things to actively harm you. And also allow their donors, if they're an industry, to pollute more. So to pollute your rivers and streams, land, and of course to buy up more and more public land they can use for, their own ends, whatever those ends may be. Maybe so they can own it and charge you for using it. I don't know. But understand that's what they're really about. This is what Republicans focus on because they don't really have any sort of plan to help you, because the plan was never to help you. It was always to help themselves and their owner donors.